Are we live? The YouTube machine says that I am live. Can you hear me, guys? Throw a holler at me in the chat. Just let me know that you can hear me okay. I'm going to turn my volume up a little bit. How the heck are you doing? Brian, Dominic, and Ryan already in the chat. So we did like enchiladas tonight. It's really, really good. Really good. The Suns, man, they have been red hot. Red hot. I will give you that. Yeah, I'm not a Lakers fan. So, and I'll be perfectly honest, I'm not a huge LeBron fan either. So I'm okay with the Lakers just not being very good. I'm not a Lakers fan. I don't have a bunch of LeBron cards. I just don't really, I'm ready for a team like the Suns. I'm ready for a new team, like how the Bucks won last year. I love seeing that. I'd love to see a new team win this year. That's kind of where I'm at with the NBA. And we've got All-Star Weekend coming up, and we've got the back end of the season. This is where it starts to heat up. It starts to get a little bit more exciting. Dominic, what's going on, my man? Yeah, what's the deal with Wander Franco and all this stuff? Is it was there a new baseball release? And forgive me, I'm not a baseball card collector, but I saw all over social media, people talking about spending a bunch of money trying to get Wander Franco cards. Is this like a Topps release, or what is that all about? Let me know. I know everybody's excited about this guy. So I could like them. Any thoughts on eBay's change in lowering the authentication service to $500? I saw this, Ryan. Yeah, I heard about this from a couple of different people. I am just not so sure about the authentication piece. I understand the reasoning behind it. I think that it makes sense. I think it's one of those things where if it can be executed really well, then it's great. If it's not going to be executed like to perfection, then it's not so great. So, but I think that the thing has to just shake out. You got to see, give it some time, see what feedback is. I'm sure eBay will look to improve on deficiencies, but it is interesting. I don't really mind this as much with raw cards. When you're talking about raw cards, $500 or higher, but when you start talking about graded cards, I don't get that. I don't get it. I think it should be optional. If you're buying a graded card on eBay, I should be able to say no, I'd rather not get it authenticated. And I understand the liability of that. I understand that, I'm taking a risk by buying a graded card that's more than $500 or $750 or $250 or whatever their threshold ends up being. But graded cards, I don't know. I just feel like it should be an optional thing. And then if you choose not to authenticate, then you take on the responsibility. You take on kind of that liability. I think that just makes sense. Options. People don't like mandates. We've seen that, right? People don't like mandates. A Wonder Foil rookie card. Yeah, tell me about this, guys. Is this like this is the big baseball chase? Wander Franco? Well, and that's the other part of it. Right now, eBay is basically, eating that cost, but you're right. Like, what happens when we have to eat that cost? And what is that cost going to be? Eek. Like, it's got to be it's got to be to where the cost is not prohibitive. It's extremely fast, and it's just for raw cards, in my opinion. I really don't understand, why a BGS or a PSA slab needs to go to a CSG unless it looks weird. If it's one of those things where I'm buying like a PSA slab and I'm like, you know what, that looks a little off to me, I wouldn't mind getting another opinion on that, from a CSG, whatever. Then that makes a little bit of sense. But again, optional service. Tube Nachos, what's going on? Michael Ham, I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing you in Atlanta here in a couple weeks. You're going to be there, I think. Is that right? You're going to be in Atlanta for the Culture Collision show. Colorado Sports Dude, good to see you. Oh, hey, Michael, no, we are doing Off-Centered on Brad's channel, the Comeback Card Investor. I just figured I would jump on. I did not get a chance to make a video today, just work. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to jump on here and talk with my peeps and see how you guys are doing. But yeah, Off-Centered will be on at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We've got Jimmy Rex. He is an owner of Cards and Coffee. We'll let him kind of explain his story and everything, but kind of an inspirational guy. Should be a good guest. Should be fun. Vintage baseball cards, not into modern baseball at all. Strike, I don't care. Yeah. Well, and that's one thing that's kind of helpful about the whole there not being baseball is you've got loads and loads of vintage cards to still look through and trade, buy, sell, whatever. So yeah. What kind of a question is this, AF Alam? Depends on the card, depends on your preferences, depends on each person's, whatever. There's so many different ways that the answer can go for any grading company. Depends. It depends. It depends. There's nuance. 50 Shades of Gray. Isn't that what they say? Or that's what the ladies say? 50 Shades of Gray. That's how the grading world is nowadays. 50 shades, maybe 100 shades. Yes, optional. Please, eBay, make that optional. Please. If nothing else, just take away to make it optional. I think it will get there. I think they'll get feedback. They're launching it. They'll get feedback and they'll figure out, a nice groove with it. I assume eBay will. The other part of what will force eBay's hand, I think, a little bit is, are they losing users? Because if the thing is too prohibitive, and all of a sudden half of the people that were buying and selling sports cards are gone off of the platform, I think magically those policies will change and it might become optional. I think that's going to be a big part of it, in my opinion. Speculating. Oh, okay. 2022 Topps Series 1 baseball, and it's Wonder Mania. Got it. Okay. That makes sense. Now, is it hobby boxes? Is it retail? Is it everyone out there at the Walmarts and the Targets trying to find this stuff? Or is it hobby only? Or what's the story? I assume it's not hobby only if it's just straight Topps, right? Well, yeah, that's exactly kind of the thing is if it is a fake slab and it looks kind of obvious, like it's like, man, I just don't feel good about how the slab looks. But then you make a really good point. What if CSG says it's not an authentic slab, but then PSA, says, yes, it is. That is an authentic slab. You could have grading, authenticators disagreeing with each other. And then what does eBay do in that circumstance? I don't know. I do not know. Outback Aluminum Welding. He's talking about NASCAR cards, or is NASCAR starting? NASCAR starting up, right? Daytona. Rooming with Steve. We'll be flying in Thursday morning. Okay, cool. Yeah, we are within driving range, so we're going to be driving there Thursday. We won't be there Thursday morning. I believe like Thursday evening, probably. I'm guessing. But yeah, looking forward to hanging out, seeing everybody. I think we might go to the aquarium, or either the Coca-Cola Museum or the aquarium, or one of those as well. We're going to be going there with a fam, so it's not just all about me and cards. It's going to be all the family there too. So it'll be cool. Hello from Australia, down under. How you doing, Mark? First time live watcher. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Love all the Australian viewership. It's awesome. It's crazy when you hear about viewers from all over the world. I think that's so awesome when someone's like, I'm in Mongolia or somewhere, and you're like, what? It's pretty amazing. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. How many Tom Brady rookie cards do I have? I actually don't know exactly how many I have, but I have quite a few Tom Brady cards. If I had to just guess off the top of my head, maybe a dozen rookie cards. And then I've got, a bunch of like the parallels and the inserts and different things. I don't have any mega Tom Brady cards, but I've got some nice cards, but not, I don't have 1,000 Tom Brady cards. Hey, Sandy, good to see you. Halifax, Nova Scotia. All right. We're global. We are global. Thanks very much for joining, Sandy. A rookie Babe Ruth PSA 10. Wow. Are you selling? Are you retiring, Sammy? Yeah, 50s. Is this 50s baseball? Is that what you're talking about, Lewis? SGC overestimating their turnaround time right now, getting cards back from their graded. Yeah, super fast. Agreed. Yeah, I did. So I shared my SGC blind reveal here a couple days ago, and SGC received my cards on the 18th, and I used a bulk subber, and I received them back on Monday. So February 14th. So less than 30 calendar days. We're talking like 25 calendar days. Lightning fast in today's grading world. And overall, I was really happy with it. But I've never submitted with PSA. I've never submitted with BGS. But I assume that once we get kind of those backlogs taken care of, I assume that it'll start to be more normal for those companies as well. But yeah, I really did enjoy that experience I had with SGC, and I think that I will be sending them some more stuff. Graded VHS tapes. Yeah, everything is all the nostalgia. They're grading all the nostalgic stuff. It's graded video games, graded comic books, graded VHS tapes. I'm wondering if I should be looking for like sealed CD-ROMs, like CDs. Is that the next thing? It's like, what's after VHS, Yeah, no, I know the VHS stuff. The stuff is kind of cool, like the original, like the Ghostbusters or, stuff from the 80s. My only thing though is I just don't know if the grading companies, because these are fairly new grading companies from what I understand, how do you know it wasn't resealed? When you're looking at like a VHS tape and it's sealed, it could very well be the original, Ghostbusters from 1985 or whatever. But how do you know it wasn't resealed at a store, at a Blockbuster or at a Walmart or whatever, a Kmart back then? I don't know. Like that's the stuff where these grading companies for VHS, I don't think that they're necessarily like long time graders, but I don't know. Maybe they are. I have no idea. I don't know enough about that space. Yeah, so I used a bulk subber for mine for SGC, and I'm not sure exactly how he sent it, how they sent it. If they send it just like, with like, in other words, not putting like a bunch of company type names on it. I'm not really sure. That's a good question though. Aaron Rodgers thinking if Brady's gone, he'll be the oldest vet in the game. Maybe he'll get more attention. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a weird time for like Rodgers when you think about it. Like, and granted, I haven't checked Aaron Rodgers rookie card prices, but you've got like guys like Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, who obviously just went to a Super Bowl, but there's I saw a stat today and it was something like the last 16 QBs that went to the Super Bowl and lost never went back, and it's a list of all these guys. So, there's a lot of excitement about Joe Burrow. Me too. I like his game. I think he's got a great attitude. He's got swag and all that stuff, but it's really, really hard to get to the Super Bowl. There's 32 teams. Only 2 teams are going to get there. And Joe might be great, but there's a lot of great players, especially in the AFC, man, between Herbert, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. And that's before you get to like the next tier guys of like, the Baker Mayfields and the Derek Carrs and the, Lamar Jackson he was the MVP a couple years ago. These guys are forgotten, but the AFC is loaded. And then of course, the NFC's got some good QBs too. So, but Aaron Rodgers, yeah, I just wonder, unless he can get over the hump in the playoffs, I don't really know, because I feel like he always puts together an amazing regular season. And then we get to the postseason and it's kind of the same story. I thought this year was going to be different for Aaron Rodgers. I actually thought they were going to get over the hump this year and they were going to go to the Super Bowl, but it just didn't happen. Is he going to stay in Green Bay? And it is kind of risky if you're buying a card because you think, okay, he might go to the Bucks or he might go to another team, and that gives him a boost as far as card prices go. It might not, or it might be very short-lived. It might be something where you get kind of a boost for a weekend or a week, and then it kind of comes back down. So I guess it depends on what are you buying the card. Are you buying the card to just kind of move it in that, if something like that happens, or if you just want to hold on to it for a long time because you like Rodgers, he's a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer. It really depends. Hey, John Williams, good to see you. The aquarium, yeah, I heard it's one of the best aquariums in the world, is what Steve was telling me. Flipping Steve was asking me today, actually, if we have any plans while we're there, and he was saying that it's a serious aquarium. It's awesome. So I'm not signed up for this tournament, but I play basketball. I mean, look, I'm not any sort of like pro, but I could get out there and run around. And then my oldest son will be there and he plays. So, I mean, Yeah, I mean, if there's room, we might be able to jump into it, but we haven't signed up. We're not on a team. We're not a team captain or any of that stuff. So we might have to be like an alternate or something. Puerto Rico, yes. I am going to Puerto Rico, Robert, and over the next few months. Excited. Never been there before. Amelia, I am not sure. There's speculation as to, um, if PSA drops prices, if BGS drops prices, then does that force SGC lower? And it very well could. Actually, this is my group sub right here, Bobbles and Ball Cards. So reach out to Bobbles and Ball Cards if you have any questions. But when I made the submission, I think if you go direct to SGC, it's $30 a card. When I made my group sub through Bobbles, it was $25 a card. And then recently it moved down to $23 a card without any minimums. So you can send one card. If I have that right, I think I have that right, Bobbles and Ball Cards, but $23 a card is where it sits right now. For me, for a lot of my cards, I'm pretty happy with 23. I mean, maybe it'll go down to 10 or 15, but I mean, for a lot of my stuff, I'm not necessarily looking to flip it, so I'm okay at 23 bucks. But you might have cards that to where you kind of need it to be more in that $10, $15 range. I just don't, I don't know how low it'll go in the near future. Over time, I'm sure they'll have that type of a service at some point. I just don't know. Okay. Yep. You were talking. Okay. NASCAR cards, Daytona qualifying is coming up. Panini licensed. Okay. Yep. Good stuff. Yeah, Michael. Yeah, Bobbles, throw out. You can feel free to kind of share your information. Perfectly fine with that. If you want to put some more information in the live stream, in the chat, how they can find you. Charles, what's going on, man? Are you going to be in Atlanta with all your Marvel stuff? Are you bringing all of your millions of dollars of Marvel cards out there? I don't have any Marvel cards, so I won't have any PMGs for you out there, to buy. I don't have it. The only Marvel cards I've got a binder of 1990 Impel, which I love those from as a kid. I have a complete set of that, and that's all I've got. I feel like now is I mean, I could be wrong on this, but now I don't think now would be a great time to buy Cooper Kupps, right? Just coming off of like the biggest game of his life where he won, the MVP, the Super Bowl MVP, Offensive Player of the Year. But a good question for the chat: are people buying up Cooper Kupps? Because I don't know. I remember last year you had kind of the Super Bowl happened, and then prices kind of like went up a little bit, but then they slumped. So who knows? Maybe it's not a bad time to buy Cooper Kupp. I'm not sure. I'm not buying any Cooper Kupps at this point. I kind of agree with you, John. It's kind of like he's just a little bit too much of a diva for me. I respect his talent, but it just feels like there's always something, with him. And then, I don't know. And again, the postseason is what really matters. Drew Brees has one ring, Rodgers has one ring, and those guys, as good as they have been, and Brees too, just did not get over the hump in the playoffs. And that's where legends are made. That's it. So Peyton Manning for a long time. A lot of people talk about how great Peyton Manning is. Peyton, if you really look at it, I think he had like 14 straight seasons where they had winning seasons. He was like the regular season king, Peyton Manning, before he finally won a Super Bowl against the Bears. And then his Super Bowl win against the Broncos, against with the Broncos. Who did they beat? Carolina. But the Broncos defense really carried him over the finish line there. And I love Peyton Manning, amazing talent. Again, incredible talent, just like Rodgers. But, in the postseason, those guys got eaten alive by Tom Brady. Really? I mean, if we're looking at it, Brady went to 10 Super Bowls? It's kind of like Jordan and, Karl Malone and the Jazz and Barkley and the Suns and, Clyde Drexler and the Blazers. Like those guys just never got over the hump. And I'm talking about my own team. The New Orleans Saints. I'm a diehard New Orleans Saints fan for decades. It kills me to say it, but As great as Breeze was, they just didn't get it done in the playoffs enough. They had really good teams that did not get it done. Yeah, Joel thinks it's a little late for Kupp, at least for right now. I mean, there will be opportunities again. Like there's an off season, definitely worth watching his prices for sure. If you're into him, he is kind of unique because it's very atypical that a wide receiver wins the Super Bowl MVP. It's always a quarterback, typically always, or it's, dominant defensive player or something. It's not, I mean, I'm not gonna say it never happens, but I was amazed that he got it, but it made sense. If you look at the stat line, he had 2 touchdowns. He was key in that win, especially with Odell going down. Without Kupp, they weren't winning the game. Hey, Iconic Baseball, 30-year collector, new to content creating, love your channel. Absolutely, man. Thanks very much for joining. And you said new to content creating, so check out Iconic Baseball, I assume is your channel name. Check that one out. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. It feels like it would be high right now, but again, I haven't checked the price point, so I'm just pulling that out of my butt. But I assume that he's riding high right now with the Super Bowl win and the MVP. I forgot to mention that. So we talk about all the good AFC QBs. I didn't even mention Trevor Lawrence, the number 1 overall pick that was the most hyped QB in 5, 7, 8 years. Trevor Lawrence is, and actually now he's got a really good coach in Doug Peterson with him in Jacksonville. I'm excited to see what they do this year with Doug Peterson. And then, Mac Jones, a lot of people say he's a game manager. He's a rookie. He's a rookie quarterback. I mean, the fact that he, showed poise and did some good things, that's great. I mean, he's a rookie. You shouldn't really expect a whole lot out of him. So there's a lot of good young QB talent right now in the league. Lots of it. Okay. Yeah. What about Jason Dominguez? He's still a couple years out, right? I saw talk about one of his cards sold for $500,000 or something like that. But he's still a couple years out, Jason Dominguez, if I have that right. Again, I'm not a baseball guy. Hey, Jim, good to see you, man. Okay, Bobbles is answering the question about their SGC submissions. FedEx. Okay. Yeah, I haven't checked Trevor Lawrence prices. I don't own any Trevor Lawrence cards, so I don't know. Well, and he doesn't even have his Prism out yet. I mean, there's a lot of releases. Flawless Football hasn't come out yet, I don't believe, for this year. There's a lot of product that's behind because of the supply chain stuff. So we'll have to see what that looks like. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence just as a prospect is exciting. I think he's gonna get better. It's just, he's a rookie, but man, there's just a lot of good QBs right now. Oh yeah, I know. I need to get a drink. Here we go. Oh, you're gonna go to Atlanta? Sweet. All right, cool. I'm gonna be there with the fam. So yeah, we'll definitely have to hang out. Yeah, the Marvel card craze out there in Atlanta. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I saw that as well today too. Something about Zion needing a second surgery. Somebody actually I heard Greg Oden. So the reaction was Greg Oden or Joel Embiid. So it was like the positive people and the negative people. The negative people are like Greg Oden 2.0. This guy's toast. And then the positive people were like, you know what? Joel Embiid, first couple years in the league, he had foot issues. Now he's starting to finally, get better or whatever. I just think it's funny. 4 AFC championships, not Super Bowls, right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Peyton Manning, they were very dominant. They were dominant for sure. Aaron Donald auto rookie cards. Yeah, but you never know. It's like with all you to get it right, you'd have to buy, different players. Who's the I'm just drawing a blank on, the 49ers pass rusher, Bosa. If the 49ers had won, it would be oh man, I should have got a bunch of Bosa autos because those are cheap, or whatever. And it's true. I mean, it's like, and now there's all the, a lot of talk about Aaron Donald being one of the best ever or whatever. And that's fine. I mean, he's a very, very good player. Um, Defensive football players have never really gotten a lot of hobby love as far as pricing goes. So I don't know if you're looking to just buy that to hold it, that's one thing. If you're looking to flip it, I just don't know. We haven't really seen where football has gotten that sort of love. It's all QBs. What does this chat think? Should Sammy cash out on Matthew Stafford cards? What's happening with Stafford cards? Did they shoot up after he won? Did they stay the same? What's the story there? Because there wasn't a lot of it was everyone was talking about Joe Burrow. No one really cared much about Matt Stafford leading up to the Super Bowl. Yeah, this very well could be the height of Stafford's career, but I suppose you never know. Hey, Alex, good to see you. Global sports card investor. Yeah, I mean, you could say that with, Tom Brady played with an elite defense in New England for a very long time, so you can give Tom Brady credit to where he always took a pay cut so they could afford those defenses. But it's a combination of playing in the worst division of football over 20 years in, the AFC North, or not the North, excuse me, the AFC East, between the Dolphins, the Bills, who just were not good, and the Jets. None of those teams had a franchise QB. Maybe Chad Pennington with the New York Jets. The Jets had a few good teams over the time period that Tom Brady was there. But if you think about it, really, really bad division, which meant that they were winning the division. I think what they win the division like every single year that Tom Brady was there, which pretty much automatically gave them a first round bye in most cases. They had a first round bye going into the playoffs, so they were set up nicely. They're basically in the divisional game every single year on lock. So yeah, trust me, I give Tom Brady all the credit, but the stars definitely aligned to where he's an amazing player, the most clutch QB, played with an amazing defense, amazing head coach, worst division in football over an extended period of time. The stars aligned, but that's not taken away from him. I think he would have had success anywhere where he was. I think he would have done well. In your opinion, would you hold on to all football cards? I stopped trying to, so the way that I am buying and selling now is I'm really just kind of selling off things that I might have bought a year or two ago that just don't really serve my collection as much anymore. They just don't do anything for me, where there's other stuff that I want. And so I'm like, you know what do I have laying around that I just don't really care that much about? The majority of my buying over the last 12 months has just been strictly stuff that I want. There's no long-term stuff. I'm not looking to buy it and sell it, the next season. I'm not looking to necessarily time it up, but there are certain cards to where it's like, well, if it does, go way up, then I'm okay moving off of it because there might be something else that I want more. So it really just kind of depends. But to what you're saying about, timing it up, I haven't really, typically, the lead up to football season is where you'll see excitement about, the NFL season about to start. And usually August, end of July, August timeframe is when football cards heat up, as far as sales goes. Right now, you would think that basketball, we've got All-Star Weekend coming up. The Super Bowl just ended. We're coming out of kind of that front half of the NBA season. The assumption would be is there's excitement around basketball coming up here, over the next couple of months, to where maybe, we could see some action on the NBA side. But again, timing those things can be really, really tricky. Plus, the last 2 years of sports card buying, selling has been a complete anomaly. So you also have to keep that in mind. The pandemic boom. Whereas I do think there's tons of demand and interest in sports cards. Don't get me wrong, and I do think there will be some volatility. it's just not going to always be what it was over the last couple of years. In my opinion, that was kind of a black swan event. But it's not to say that like cards go away, cards go to zero. That's not at all what I mean. But I guess I'm just not much help if it comes to, timing it up for, when to buy and sell. But yeah, rambling a little bit. But if the chat wants to throw in their 2 cents, throw it in, folks. Throw it in. Boss Hog, how you doing? A lot of excitement about the Marvel stuff. I know a couple of my hobby friends have been buying them. Steve, Flipping Steve, and Neo Cards and Comics. And then Spidey Jew. I can't remember the full name of his channel, but there's Marvel card folks that are talking a lot about it. I think I said a few minutes ago, the only Marvel cards I've got are the 1990. I've got a complete set of the 90 Impel set. I love that set from when I was a kid, so I bought it. It's in a binder, but I have not been, I'm not on the PMG train or any of that stuff. But they're cool cards. I mean, I get it. I understand, the draw to them. I've actually, over the last couple of months, I have been buying PMGs, just different PMGs. Hold on, so a couple of examples. Bruce Smith, this one's from 2000. Is it 11 or 12? This is the first year of the Skybox Metal, the Fleer Retro. This is the Fleer Retro set. So these are not the 90s PMGs. The 90s PMGs are very, very expensive. These are in the college unis. But Bruce Smith didn't have a 90s PMG. This is the all-time sack leader. Price was right. It's numbered out of 50. And it's a PMG. I was like, you know what? I'd like to have some PMGs, but what about football cards? That's more of kind of my style. So I picked up that one. And then I also, I picked up a few of them, but these are the ones I like. I would say that I like the most. And I got this Barry Sanders red that's numbered out of 100 and an SGC 8. The 90s version of this and the Lions, the Lions uni is thousands of dollars, so wasn't going to happen for me, but I like to, these are kind of the generic brand or whatever you would call that, but I like those just the same, and they're, a fraction of the price. Oh, okay. Yeah, the framed Friday the 13th thing. So I got this at my local show, my local card show. There was a guy that was selling selling signed helmets. I actually have, hold on, I'll pull up I'm a huge New Orleans Saints fan if you're new to this stream. So I was at my local show. I'm there to buy cards, and this picture, and hold on, let me grab this. And then this is a full-size Saints speed helmet. It's just on my desk, but it's Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara signed it. Hopefully Alvin Kamara gets out of trouble. But the same guy had the helmets, and then he had the pictures. And what it is it's the movie poster from the original, a mini version of the movie poster from the original, and it's signed by the guy that played the original Jason. His name is Ari Lehman. Ari Lehman, the original Jason Voorhees. I'm a scary movie fan, so I thought that would be kind of cool to add, and it's in my office. So yeah, when I get on video calls, people get to see that. So there you go. Who dat? Oh man, I can't wait to get back to New Orleans Fat City Kicks. I miss that place so much. It's just been terrible. Haven't been able to get to a game over the last 2 seasons because of the pandemic, but I cannot wait to get back to New Orleans. So hope that you all are doing well over there in the Big Easy. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying that this is kind of a fad, the Marvel cards. I think with especially like the PMGs, the Vibraniums, these numbered cards, there hasn't really been much attention on them. And so now all of a sudden, you've got attention on them, but because there wasn't loads and loads of collectors for that sort of stuff, it doesn't take many more to really kind of boost up, that market and prices, because it wasn't something that people were really doing. Comic book people don't really care about Marvel cards. I have comic books. I have Silver Age Marvel comic books. But I never collected Marvel cards outside of that Impel set that I have, the complete set of the 90 Impel set. But that's just a childhood nostalgia thing. That wasn't because, I think that could be something that, I'm buying as an investment. That was more of just like, it's a really, really cool set. I remember trying to collect them all when I was young. And so I can get the whole set for $100, or I think I even got it for $80 or something like that a couple of years ago. Oh, wow. That would be huge news, especially with the trades that they made. The Pelicans, look out, all of a sudden, if they can get Zion somehow back in the mix, that could be an exciting team. I'll let the chat answer this because I don't really do the buy, is it a good buy now or later? It's kind of, the card market is a fickle beast. It's like it could go up, it could go down. And a lot of times it makes no sense why things go up and go down. So, but I'll let the chat answer if they think that Mahomes might be a good buy right now. It's a good question. I don't think it's not a bad question. It's just obviously, I don't know. And for me, I'm not in the market for Mahomes right now, not because I don't, obviously he's an insane talent. Just not what I'm focused on right now. Yeah, exactly, Paul. Until it's beyond obvious that they're good, they can stay cheap. I'll buy. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have 4 or 5 Lawrence Taylor rookie cards in various grades for that reason. Just because it's like there's no respect. And now look, I know he's had off field troubles and stuff like that too, which doesn't necessarily help. But honestly, like every athlete, there's a risk of that with any athlete. That can happen. So I just, the talent was with LT. LT to me is the greatest defensive player of all time. Bruce Smith is another example. He's the all-time sack leader, and no one is even really close to him. There's no one that's close to breaking Bruce Smith's sack record anytime soon. So I like his stuff. All right, everybody is saying sell on Stafford. Everyone is talking about selling on Stafford. Why is that sports card radio guy talking all that smack? I think it's entertainment. I think it's for entertainment purposes. The thing is that with YouTube, it is kind of, the thing about YouTube is it's just a platform for attention. It's like whatever gets attention. So if there is a market for what anybody is talking about, if people are watching it, then it's whether it's positive, negative, indifferent, doesn't really matter. So it's like whether we, like it, don't like it, it's kind of irrelevant. It's got, if people are watching it, then there's a market for it. There's a market for whatever topic we're talking about, whether we're talking about sports cards or raising turtles or whatever, so it's, YouTube is all about finding ways to getting attention. It's media. It's we're in the media business here. That's what this is. So good, good, bad, and different. Whether you like certain content, don't like certain content, it's kind of irrelevant. It's really just, is there a market for it? Well, the only answer to that is, are people watching it? If people are watching it, yeah, there's a market for it. That's it. Yeah, what do the Rams have as far as free agents go? Who do they have to re-sign? Because I'm hoping it's a lot of people. Because the Saints are 70 million over the cap. I heard we're getting Michael Thomas back and healthy. That's a one piece of good news for the Saints. Yeah, sometimes I wonder about the questions as well, Boss Hog. I'm with you. Zion cards. Hey, he might be laughing, in 5-10 years, maybe he's got three rings and he's MVP. Who knows? Bark seems to think so. Bark Charlesley. I love that name. Bark is bullish on Zion coming back. Really good question about college collecting market, because that's something, if you think about like the college uni stuff has always been like, a big meh, like, people are like, okay, once the pro uniform comes out, then I'm not interested in the college uniform. Does that change over time now that there's, a different rules around it? Now that you can, those college athletes can make money now, these companies can make money as well, and the universities. I'm very curious kind of to see how that goes. That's a really good point. Will card collectors, give more of a pass, I guess, to the college unis? Will it become a thing that's accepted? Or is it going to be like, oh, the college product is out, it's crap, or it's cool until the pro unis come out, and then I'm all over the pro uni stuff and I'm ditching the college stuff? It's a good question. I will say too, iconic baseball, where I struggle with Tom Brady's rookie cards, and I do own, like I said, I probably have a dozen Tom Brady rookie cards in various grades. He has a lot of rookie cards, a lot of different kinds. He's got alternative rookie cards like what you're talking about. He's got a lot of different brands. For a 6th-round pick, there was a lot of, you would think there wouldn't be as many, but there's a ton of them. So I kind of wonder, like in 20 years, should I be holding a dozen different ones, or should I just consolidate into maybe like a couple that I think are going to look good down the road? It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Well, here's a guy. He only has one rookie card, Montana. So I can understand why people do love the 81 Topps Montana. I've got one copy of that card in a PSA 8 that I got a few years ago, and I love that card. I'm going to hold on to it for as long as I can. I really like that card. I'd love to have more than one, just so, just to have some variety, because Montana's such a legend. Oh yeah, Ed, definitely. Yeah, come up and talk to me. I was thinking actually I might be wearing this one of the days. So I'll be the guy with the orange hoodie on. Obviously that's just for one of the days. But yeah, look for me in the orange hoodie. I think this is what I'm going to wear actually. Ancient fortune cookies. I'm assuming that Boss Hog is joking, but are they great? Who's grading them? PSA? Is it PSA ancient fortune cookies? SGC? Is there a price difference between it? That's a video. That's a video. Ancient fortune cookies, price differences between PSA and SGC and BGS. Coming later on this week. I think the delay of the major sets in football keeps things higher until the start of the season. That's an interesting point. I know football has been lagging. I mean, a lot of the products have been. It's such a weird last 12 months because there's so much talk about like, the market's sunk and the prices have dropped and blah, 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 and whatever. And very, very true. It has for a lot of things outside of a lot of the higher end. But think about all the problems over the last 12 months that like all the demand caused. You're thinking about, grading companies are completely backed up. So for all the people that were buying raw, going to PSA to grade and resell, that was shut down. New product coming out, that's shut down. Issues on selling platforms, just issues all over the place. Now there's new fraud stuff. There's new fake slabs. There's new fake cards. The hobby's had a bunch of adversity over the last 12 months. There's still people here. There's still people around. There's still people are excited about it. I think that if the hobby can just kind of, gather, just get over the hump on some of this stuff, that it's going to be fine. Vintage lunch boxes. Speaking of, Chris, if you have a Masters of the Universe He-Man lunchbox from the 80s, or a Ghostbusters one, or what would be another example? A Goonies, but I'm talking about the original, not like the remake stuff. If you've got original 10 lunchboxes from the 80s, reach out to me. I'm a buyer. I am a buyer. And not because it's an investment, because I want it in my man cave office. Yeah, Chris is an NFT millionaire. Yeah, he's done pretty well in cards, but Chris is the NFT guy. I wish I had listened to Chris more on the NFT stuff, but I can't, just can't do it all. Can't do it all. And I agree with you here, Ed. Content. We need more content from Vegas Find 777. Let's get the chant going. We need more content from Chris. Please make that happen. I don't even care if you're talking about whatever. Talk about anything. Talk about poker, anything. Yes. It's going to be hard to follow that box of 89 Pro set that we opened at the National Football. I actually love that, though. That was so much fun. I had not opened I hadn't opened a box since 1990. Packs of that stuff, 91, whatever. That was a lot of fun. 1980 unopened cassette tapes, right? Walkmans, iPhones, original iPhones. If it can be graded, and if you think it's gonna have some, scarcity nostalgia, Actually, I think I did see something like that where it was selling for crazy money. It was like an original Apple iPhone 1 or whatever, and it was sealed, and it was not cheap. But that actually makes sense to me. Like, I think that like in 20 years, people would be like, oh, wow, that's so cool. Look at that. The first iPhone. I agree, Paul. I agree. And I think there is a little bit of a trickle down over time. That's part of the reason why I got these is because, if those 90s PMGs like the Barry Sanders, if that eventually is a $50,000 card, this card, do I think it's going to be $50,000 one day? No, but maybe it kind of helps it out where people are like, well, I don't have money for 50,000, but I do like that Barry Sanders one in the Oak State. I might have to go with that one. And the same with the Bruce Smith. The good thing about the Bruce Smith is there wasn't a Bruce Smith PMG in the 90s. So there was a lot of I think I've got a Roger Staubach, a lot of these legendary players, they didn't have PMGs in the 90s. So I think that's kind of a cool differential. All right. Graded floppy disks. So right now, I am working on a special project that I have not disclosed yet. It is card related. I am buying a certain type of card. I haven't decided yet. I put a poll on my YouTube channel. And basically it was just like, I am buying sports cards, very niche sport. So not mainstream at all. Hobby content, people are not talking about it very much. And so should I talk about it or should I not talk about it? And, I got a bunch of different responses back there. So I'm still thinking about if I want to talk about it yet. I'm not really sure. But the other part is I've got a bunch of life stuff, family stuff. I've got 4 kids, and financially, we've got some things that we need to take care of here. So my card budget is a little bit tighter than where it has been, and that's okay. It's stuff that I need to contribute to, and I want to contribute to it. It's important. So that's where you're not going to see as much card buys from me. I want to really be well funded for the national in July. So for me, I'm kind of thinking of it from the terms of let's be disciplined. Let's take care of some of this other stuff. And then, have a really fun national. And no, I'm not bringing, $5,000 or $10,000 to the national. I'm not, but you don't need to bring that much money to have a good time. So I'm just kind of looking forward to that. I do have a couple cards that I'm going to get from Steve at Culture Collision that he's already put aside for me. But outside of that, it's going to be a little bit light for a little bit as far as my buying goes. Yeah, thanks, man. If you're talking about this, yeah, the Friday the 13th, it's just an all-timer. It's an all-time classic slasher, And actually, too, if some people might disagree with me. I really like the new Scream movie. There's speaking of slashers, new Scream movie just came out, 25th anniversary or whatever. Part of the reason why I liked it is because they paid homage, and I swear all these movies are doing this now. This new Ghostbusters movie did it. The Scream movie did it. What was the other movie where I just saw? Oh man! Oh, Jurassic Park trailer. The new Jurassic World coming out, paying homage to the old characters while also building on the new characters. That is the theme that we're seeing. So yeah, it's it's so nostalgic. But yeah, the Friday the 13th stuff is classic. Same. Yeah. Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees were just like, I mean, those were the big scare movies when I was a kid. Nightmare on Elm Street too, obviously. And there was like Ghoulies, there were some really campy ones that were fantastic. Sleepaway Camp, I really like kind of the mysteries. Kind of the like it's a horror, but there's also like the mystery, like who done it type stuff. And the 80s horror stuff is full of that. Hey, Flea Market Mixtape. Good to see you, man. Thank you for joining. Absolutely. Wow, that's a huge order. 178 cards. I just did 10 cards with SGC and I was excited. I can't imagine 178. That's tremendous. All right, guys, I'm going to have to wrap it up. What time is it? All right, I'm gonna have to wrap it up in the next 3 minutes. 3 minutes, because I just realized I have to get on with Brad here in a minute. I'm slacking. All right. Yeah, I know. I've heard that too. I've heard that too. Fair enough. Honestly, though, I feel like with a lot of these players, we'll never really know what a lot of these guys were doing. I mean, there's so many. Um, it's like when people get on their high horse about, and even in baseball too, with baseball hall of, with Barry Bonds and with Roger Clemens. There's also guys that did stuff that never got caught doing it, or they were doing something else that they, whatever. I mean, it's just sports. It's just sports. Yeah, I don't buy that though, Dave. I don't buy it. I think that he'll be back. I heard he wants to start a family, but I think I don't know. Yeah, you can start a family and still coach and do that stuff, but we'll see. I think he's 36. I'm 40. That guy's 36 and has a Super Bowl ring. It's incredible. Yeah, the QB carousel is going to be really, really interesting. You've got Rodgers that might be on the go. You've got Russell Wilson that might be on the go. The Saints are trying to find a QB. The Bucks are trying to find a QB. There's a lot going on. No, I have not revealed it. I don't think I'm going to yet. Not going to yet. We will see. Oh, A-Team. Yes, A-Team would be another lunchbox. If you have it, 80s A-Team lunchbox. If you're selling, I'm buying. Dude, holler at me, man. Let me know. I don't care if it's not in good shape. I'm not going to use it. My son's not taking it to his high school. I'm going to put it up here. Beautiful Brad. I'll be on with him in about 30 minutes. Yeah, I decided that I would jump on. Figure I get a couple of words in before I get on with Brad and he just talks for an hour straight. What do you think about getting graded base rookie cards? Graded base rookie cards. I feel like with modern cards, focusing on basically only numbered cards, only way to go. Yeah. I don't have a lot. I've been focused mainly on, I would say, rare inserts. So if we're talking about PMGs, and also I'm doing a lot of football card collecting because a lot of times, if you look at basketball, a lot of that stuff is very expensive when you're looking at PMGs, a cut above, any of these like 90s inserts. Well, in football, they are not as expensive. So, and I'm a football card collector first. I also do like basketball and I do collect other things as well. But yeah, I've been definitely over the last 12 months a lot more focused on scarcity. The only base cards I've got rookie cards are like Joe Montana rookie card, Jim Brown rookie card. These are all base rookie cards, but they're also their only rookie cards. Johnny Unitas rookie card. So yeah, not to say that there's not a market for that stuff, those modern cards, St. Mark, but I just don't, for me, that's just not the direction I'm going. Oh yeah, Brian's buying gold. That's right. No crypto, Brian. It's all gold. No crypto for you. Phantasm. I don't know if I have seen that one. Is that an 80s scary movie? I'm not sure if I've seen it. Let's see. It'd be kind of interesting if they did like a Thundercats. I know that I've seen Fanimation or where fans have redone Thundercats. But it would be kind of cool if they did some sort of a live action. I don't know. It also could be very terrible. But that was just the first one that popped into my head. If I had some time to think on that, Mike, there would probably be others too. Ryan kind of nailed it. A better He-Man movie. I actually didn't even mind the last He-Man movie if we're taking it into context of what it was at the time. But yeah, if they could redo that, I'm not a big fan of the new animated one on Netflix. Not a big fan. I want something more live action. Same with like Spawn, Image Comics, Spawn, Todd McFarlane. Good 90s movie. There was a lot of potential there. Not great, good, not great, but another Spawn movie. I'd be all about that. I know that's not 80s, but Spawn is basically like 1990, 1991. It's right on the border. All right, guys, I've got to jump off. My youngest son has to go to bed, and I've got to get on with Brad here in a minute. I'm sorry I did not get to these comments in the chat. I totally blew this, but I will do this again soon. I like doing the solo ones just to hang out with you all, so I'll definitely do this again soon. But thank you very much for joining me for an hour. Take care, guys. I'll see you. If you want to check out the live stream on the Comeback Card Investors channel, I'll be there in about 30 minutes. All right. Take care, guys. I'll talk to you later.